3200 AD mankind has entered the age of highly intelligent technology, from the most basic AI derivation to the current variety of intelligent machine life forms. Human life expectancy has long since surpassed what was possible in the beginning. My name is Lin Jin Yu. I'm a designer in modern technology engineering that I've lost track of how many years I've been living. For as long as I can remember, times have changed rapidly, all the cities are changing day by day, and I can't tell you how many times the place where I live has been moved. I don't have a family, and according to many researchers nowadays, human life expectancy can be very long, but there are only a few exceptions that I think maybe I'm the exception, but I've been doing a little more than living lately. We have a robot in our house, yes, a robot completely indistinguishable from a human. That he told me his name was Su Lanchen, and that he was from one of the most famous technology companies in the world today.
Take a look. This is my product warranty card. I really am a robot.
On the fifth time I pushed him out of my house that he pulled out a card, looked at me with sincere eyes. I took his card and gave him a suspicious look. No way, robots can already do this now. I reached out and cupped his face.
Ouch, ouch, ouch.
Do robots hurt, too?
Of course. In order to perfectly match human beings, we have also implanted a lot of human-related senses.
Wow, so professional.
Yes. I'm the first of today's most intelligent robots, the only one of its kind.
So why did you come to my house?
Because you're the lucky one, the luckiest girl in the world.
Come on, what the hell for?
Didn't I say you're the lucky guest?
I stared at his face for a long time, and a strange emotion came over me. Did you produce it recently? You were the first.
Yeah, or else. Have you seen me before?
I stared at him for a long time and shook my head. No, I don't think so, or I've seen it, but I can't remember it. Never mind, come in. On the basis of his relentless and repeated assurances that he is an all-powerful and all-knowing robot who can do everything, I still put him in the house.
Hey, I knew you were the best.
Don't try to be lazy, you just have to do chores at home. You're in charge of this house. If I see it's not cleaned up one day, I'll throw you out. Since Su Lanchen came to my house, my house does look a lot neater. When I'm out at work during the day, I leave him to his own devices. Sometimes he'd be gone when I came home, but he'd leave the food on the table. I never ask where he's been. We're like two regular roommates sharing a room, until one night when I didn't tell him in advance about working late. After arriving home, Su Lanchen sat on the sofa and shed tears. He eagerly stepped forward and squeezed my shoulder.
Where have you been?
His voice sounded shaky. That I'm going to work overtime.
Then why didn't you tell me?
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention it. For a moment his look became very obscure. The sadness in my eyes surrounds me. There were no lights on in the room, and I reached up and touched his face, and it felt wet. What's wrong? I'm not going to run away without you. I joked about it. That he sat down on the couch, pursed his lips, and finally said nothing. That I came up to him and said with a cheeky grin, "Are you afraid I'll run away without you?"
Yes.
He looked up at me, the emotion in his eyes unknown. That I don't understand why a robot would have such a look in its eyes. As I stared at him, his eyes drifted downward. That I looked down at my chest. There's a ring there that glows with a cold light. That I've worn this around my neck for as long as I can remember. That I never take it off, in the shower or in bed.
I see you wear this ring all the time. Is it of any great significance?
I don't remember. It's been too long to remember.
Why can't you remember anything?
His eyes were red, like a frightened animal.
What can you remember?
Remember to say next time you don't come home for dinner, you know what you especially look like right now, you know?
Like what?
Like one of those new daughters-in-law who are abandoned on their wedding night.
Get out.
The days are passing by. Su Lanchin was away from home more and more in the evenings. Because there is no intimacy between us, and I never bothered to ask what he was doing or where he was going. It's the night of the thunderstorm. Thunder is my worst fear that I don't know why, but for as long as I can remember, every time there's a thunderstorm, I feel a pain in the back of my neck that I huddled in the crevice of the bed and rubbed my neck repeatedly. A clap of thunder startled me to my feet. The windows shimmered with light from one layer to the next. I saw my back through the glass window, places I've never noticed before. There's a little black mass. I went into the glass window to get a better look. There's more thunder. I ran into the bathroom and locked the door, checking the mirror over and over again. I have 3 very small letters on the back of my neck. It looks like a tattoo. It's Rateen 001 on there. When Su Lanchin came back from outside, I squatted in the toilet and fell asleep. Su Lanchin searched for me for half a day, but couldn't find where I was. As he rushed into the bathroom, he knelt down and hugged me.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
He kept apologizing to me. I shrink into his arms and shake my head. A strange feeling came over me. It's like I'm becoming dependent on him. Where have you been? Su Lanchin glanced at me, as if he was surprised that I would suddenly ask him about his itinerary.
I have some other arrangement.
He stammered and couldn't look at me. I had the distinct impression that something was wrong with him. What's the matter with you? You're a robot. If you're not going out to play, what else can you be up to?
No.
Forget it. I'm so tired today. I'm going to rest first. I stood up and peeled away his hand that was holding me up. He stood still, red-eyed. I've set aside a room for Su Lanchin. I never interfered in his affairs, and never went into his room. My instincts tell me that there must be something wrong with Su Lanchin. In the following days, I avoided Su Lanchin intentionally or unintentionally, but I couldn't ignore the intensity of feeling in his eyes. I realized that he was always crying alone late at night. I came out of the kitchen and saw him sitting alone on the couch. Why are you such a crybaby? Do you robots have feelings too?
Yes.
Do you like me, Su Lanchin?
Yes.
I stared at the top of his head, the ring on his chest glowing in the moonlight that spilled in. In the middle of the day, I bent over and hugged him. He reached around my waist.
Lin Jinyu, I don't just like you. I love you.
I froze. I didn't expect him to say something like that. I held him in my arms in the dimly lit living room. Can robots have such complex emotions?
Yes, a robot is also a human being. As long as it has a human outlook, it is a complete human being.
Who the hell are you, Su Lanchin? I always feel that there's too much of you that I can't understand.
I love you more than anyone in the world.
My intuition tells me that Su Lanchin is not as simple as I think. On one of his nights out I snuck into his room. His room is full of folders and instruments I didn't understand. I went through his desk and a photo fell out of it. The photo shows Su Lanchin in a white coat, smiling cheerfully in front of the camera. He looks very young, like he's a trainee who just entered the research lab. There's a line on the back and says, "Celebrating Su Lanchin's success in the research center." I kept scrolling down. It's a yellowed photograph. The photo is of Su Lanchin and a girl. The girl's face is a little hard to see. The photo was rubbed and blurred, and the area of the girl's face was already covered with marks. It's like it's been touched 1,000 times. I feel like I'm getting a little out of breath. I'm shaking and scrolling down. In the middle are some experimental diaries that talk about the girl was in a car accident on a rainy night, and from the angle of the photo I'm guessing she's very close to Su Lanchin. There's a record in the middle that's not in this folder. I've searched everywhere, but I can't find it, until I got to the last photo, and it says, "Record of Professor Su Lanchin's first and most successful experimental body, number 001. There's a girl lying in the photo. The body was covered with a white cloth. A small numbered tattoo on the back of his neck. I snapped the photo and snapped it on the table, chest rising and falling. I fell down on the edge of my desk. Su Lanchin came back from outside and found me in his room. Right now, I'm falling to the ground gasping for air. Su Lanchin came over and hugged me. He's apologizing to me again. This robot, is it me? So you're the experimenter, I'm the robot, and you're my creator, right? I feel like my voice is shaking like crazy. With an airy voice, I broke off and inquired, staring at his face, trying to find answers.
Yes.
He reaches down and pulls out the yellowed photo that I just realized this girl was wearing a ring around her neck too.
You are her, she is you.
We grew up together. We've been together for decades. We were about to get married and I had an accident on a rainy night that he couldn't handle my sudden death. He extracted my DNA and kept my memories. I was his most successful and perfect experiment. I am Lin Jinyu, and Lin Jinyu is me.
Haven't you always been curious about the ring around your neck?
With red eyes, he picked up the ring on my chest.
Look!
I cried and reached for the ring on my chest, my shaking hand almost unable to grasp it. I reached out and hugged Su Lanchin. The ring fell to the ground as it was pulled and tugged. The ring glows silver white on the ground. Inside is engraved, "You are the only love of my life."